Hello and welcome to Race Car Fabrication and Restoration. I'm Ronnie Humphrey as always. Thanks for joining me today. Well, in a recent video, we were finally able to do a test drive in the truck. We got it out and that was a good thing, but unfortunately the test drive revealed some more issues we have to address. This truck just keeps on giving, but we will get them fixed up. We're gonna go out and see our buddy Jeff Lewis out at Jeff Racing Products. He's gonna help us take care of one of those problems today, so ride along with us. All right, on our initial test drive of the truck, everything worked pretty good, except we did identify a couple of other problems with the truck. Like I say, this truck is a truck that just keeps on giving. I went to get on the brakes when I was coming back. I only drove about 1.5 miles total, but when I went to get on the brakes to try to test those, the steering wheel basically was just yanked out of my hands. And it had such a bad shimmy in the front end, so pull the rotors off. We're gonna take them over and see Jeff's gonna take care of those for me this morning. We're gonna put them on the lathe, see if we can get those turned down, hopefully repair that. But the bigger issue was this line right here. This is the vent hose they have running to the transmission. Well, when we got this truck, it was just covered with oil everywhere. And this thing had more oil spilt than the Exxon Valdez did. But this transmission vent line was laying up in the floor pan of the truck. I didn't have it stuck through this hole. And I came back and it was literally just running oil. It just ran my whole shop out here with oil, a line of oil. I couldn't figure out what in the world was going on. I checked all the fluid levels before I left and knew everything was good, but they wasn't overfilled. Well, this truck has a pump on it, cooling pump, and it runs the fluid from the rear end on one stage of the pump, one side of the pump. It's a two-stage pump. So one side runs the rear end cooler, goes to this is the cooler for the rear end, and then this is the cooler for the transmission. Well, I called a friend of mine. I said, I don't understand why this transmission is building up this much pressure. I mean, to push that much out, nothing was overfilled. He said, have you checked your rear end grease? I said, well, yeah, I checked it before I took it out. I went ahead and, topped it off, and it was a little low, and I didn't think nothing about it. Well, it's just that 1.5 miles. He said, you might want to go check it again. So on that 1.5 miles, I went out here, and I checked it again, and it was, didn't have anything in the rear end. So I knew then that the pump was pumping fluid. So I said, how could that be? Well, there's two different stages, like I say, in this pump. They had somebody on the previous owner of the truck had run the return line that came out of the back here, had run it to the inside of the pump, which was correct. Then on the outside, the outgoing side of the pump, they had ran it to the transmission cooler up there. So the transmission was getting all of the rear end grease from the rear end pumping. Instead of running it to the cooler, circulate there, they had them crossed. So man, I said, what a disaster. So I decided I better go and pull the gear out because I knew this truck was last ran at Rockingham. And I went and checked everything and the gears are fine, but I guarantee this truck was running low of oil on the rear end the last time it was run. Because that line was reversed. And that's why the whole bottom side of the truck had been coated with oil, because everything is coming out of the breather hose. And that's why they added this long vent tube to put it to the back, because originally it was just, they had a filter probably up there and it just coated the whole bottom of the truck. So finally answered why there was so much oil everywhere. But we got this out and we're gonna go ahead and stick this back in. Everything looks okay. I decided to go ahead and disconnect these coolers. There's no need to have these coolers. That's the road racing stuff. Just like all this rear duct work for the off the trailing arms going to get some NACA ducts to get some cool air to the brakes. We don't need that. So I went ahead and broke these lines loose. I plugged everything here on the top, up there, and then here. We'll leave lines on here in case somebody ever wants to do this in the future, but that's what happened. So that's what we're going to fix. Second thing, the first thing is try to see if we can get these rotors done and get back to the shop and put them on, and then we will go on to the next project, which is going to be trying to get this rear end back together. It takes longer to set it up than it does to do the cutting. All right, man. Thanks to Jeff at JRP. This is Jeff Racing's Products. Really appreciate them helping us out on this. Well, we made it back here to the shop safe and sound. We got our rotors freshly turned. Appreciate Jeff doing that. It's Jeff Lewis at JRP. It's Jeff's Racing Products. He is a good guy. I've known him for, God, since 1984 when we first started racing together here on the dirt tracks in North Louisiana. Great guy, great family, good Christian man. Check him out, JRP. He can help you with a lot of little speed secrets. Something you need built, he can take care of it for you. So check him out. Appreciate Jeff jumping on this. So let's see if we can get on this truck now. All right, that gets the brakes done and put back together on the car. I tell you, there's nothing worse than trying to line up the shims on the bolt that holds the caliper to the spindle. It is so hard to get that done. While I was in there, I went and cut off these tethers. I know some of you guys may not like that, but to me, it's not needed. I'm not on super speedway. Cut them off both sides. It's unnecessary weight, just more stuff to get in the way when trying to work on stuff. So we got them cut off. So now let's get to the back of the truck so we can get this rear end together. Then we'll get this thing back down on the ground. Hopefully try to test drive it again and see if the brakes are fixed now. All right, got the gear in. Thank goodness my brother came by to visit for a minute, and Douglas helped me stab that because I was going to put a chair up on top of a roller and a whole bunch of stuff to try to get it in by myself. But we got that in with his help, and all we have to do now, I got the pump back on. Like I said, we're not running any more of this belt stuff, leaving all that off. Got the axles back in, so I need to get the drive shaft in it and put some grease in it, and I think that will have this done. All right, got that stab. Get the U-bolts now. Make sure we got this thing seated in there good. Ooh, and that side's not. There it is. Boy, people make that mistake. Okay, see if we get our U-bolts tight here. That's 1, 2. 3 and 4. Done. All right, let's see if we can get a little grease in this rear end now without spilling it everywhere. Okay, we did good that time. Once I get it started, I take a razor blade, cut the top of the jug, get a little bit of air in there. It'll drain a whole lot quicker then. All right, we got our rear end grease filled up, and get these axle caps on, get them tight, put the tires on it, We'll see if we can take another stroll down the road, see if this thing gets any better on this front end shimmy. Well, that worked out really good. The brakes are just smooth as glass when I get on the binders hard now. I only went about 1.5 miles down the road trail and came back, and it worked out great. So far, no oil leaks, but I really appreciate my buddy Jeff Lewis helping me out and getting these front rotors turned in such a short notice so we get this thing back together. We're going to take it to the track here in the next couple of episodes. You want to make sure that you stay tuned for that. We're going to try to do that over on a private 1/4 mile track that a buddy of mine has at his house. We're going to go over there and run that. If you might remember a few episodes back, we put a motor in a Legends car, and that is his personal private track we're going to go to and just kind of shake the truck down and see what it drives like, get everything up to temperature. I do have one little area for an oil leak that I'm concerned about, and believe it or not, it's coming from the main oil tank. I've been kind of chasing this down, trying to figure it out. And I think today I finally found where it's just a hairline crack, and that's going to be a booger to have to deal with, but we'll get it done. We'll just have to cross that bridge when we get to it, but right now it's not bad enough to worry about. But I appreciate you guys watching as always. Don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button. We'll see you next time on Race Car Fabrication and Restoration. God bless you. You take care.